Troy Kingi and his band play one show at the Powerstation this coming Friday. Here's Troy to tell us how he embraced the cheese of the 1980s and how huge his band is sounding now.
Been looking so high, been looking so low, been looking for
Just one gig promoting this record. Why is that?
I think because we're pretty close to the just finishing the folk tour, and I was just like, we had to postpone that so many times, and COVID is actually still lingering around a little bit.
Yep, absolutely.
So I didn't want to have to do the same thing as I did with the folk tour last year, and having to reschedule one show if anything went wrong is a bit easier than trying to reschedule 10 shows.
That's a fact. Very good. Now, I saw you guys when you opened for Midnight Oil, I think it was last month, beginning of last month. Obviously, this is going to be a very different show than that. Is it the same band, or tell me, compare the two?
We've got a 8-piece band. It's pretty much the Clutch from the Freddie Caesar band, but we don't have our extra guitarists, but it is more keys orientated, more synth orientated. So, we had my first production rehearsal ever on Saturday, and it was amazing. We sound so huge. I feel like it's the best I've ever sounded. So really looking forward to Friday.
Yeah. So when you get together and you're working on this new record, what kind of stuff happens when you're doing this rehearsal? Are you looking for a sound? You're looking for a groove? You're just getting the parts down? How does it work?
I'm lucky enough to have Marika Hodgson, because I'm not based in Auckland, so they actually have their own rehearsals, and Guy and Forrest have already worked out all the key parts. So when I come into rehearsal, basically I'm coming into a well-oiled machine. I just sit there and just feel cool about myself.
Why not? I love it. Now, the album overall, The Year of the Ratbags, obviously influenced by the year 1984, which is when you were born, and the sounds that were happening at that time, which were the 80s and the synths and the drums and all that stuff. So my own personal opinion is it was probably the least favorite sound of mine. but people love the 80s. So what was it, because of that year, or music wise, what drew you to come up with that concept?
I've always steered clear of the 80s. I never liked the sonics of the 80s, the way the gated snares. There was a lot of cheese in the 80s, and I feel like that's exactly where I went. I don't know. Right. I just embraced it all, and when I think of the 80s, that's what I think of. I don't think of all the cool 80s stuff that did come out of the 80s. I think of that straight cheesy sound. So it's a fine balance between having that, but also trying to bring some of myself. And it is the year 2022, so you can't fully be an 80s band in this era, but you try your best.
Right. Because there was good stuff, Talking Heads and REM and bands like that. But then there was, Duran Duran and stuff like that as well, which are great songs and fine for their time. But it's So, and of course, we ran a review at the 13th Floor of your album, and I think there was a line in it about there were some tracks that were filler, I think, that you commented on, which I love. Because the fact of the matter, I didn't write that, Reverend Orange Peel did, but the fact of the matter is, it's very difficult to review a local or a New Zealand band because because everybody knows everybody. And if you write anything that's perceived as negative, you're going to hear about it. You're going to run into the person on the street and have to answer for it. So
I don't mind it. Like everyone has their own perspective of stuff. I'd like to know what songs there was. That would be cool. But no, I don't mind that sort of stuff. I embraced it. I put it up there as like the best line I've ever had in a review. So no, that's cool. That's all cool.
Very good. Now I see you got a person named Macy on a track called "A Little Knowledge Is a Dangerous Thing," and if I'm not mistaken, Macy is Harry Parsons, is it?
Yes, it is.
He used to be an intern here at the 13th Floor. So
did he?
Yep, for a number of years ago.
My dear blue star, when I'm Don't put all your eggs in just that basket.
Yeah, I met him last year. We're doing Songhouse down in Christchurch, and I just heard his voice, and it's got a very 80s-esque vibe about it.
Right.
And I hadn't written anything. I just said, I really want you to be on my album when I finally write it. And so when he come in to sing that part, I also had written that little theme at the start of the album. And and my voice didn't quite suit it, so I asked him if he could sing that as well. So he's actually the first voice on the album as well.
Oh, that's him as well. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, I know Harry, and he's a very different type of artist than you. So it's interesting to see kind of getting together and doing your thing. That's very cool. And now we all know that, you know, you have all these like clues, and there's like a secret, there's like some kind of something behind the whole album as a whole, and you're unwilling to let it out, which is fair enough. Has anyone cracked the code?
Someone has. There's a guy that's been doing piano covers of my songs for the last couple years, and he cracked the first song, Paparazzo,
right.
And then I gave him a little winky emoji, and then 6 hours later, he sent me the rest of it, and I was like, "You're right on the money there." So the clues are all there. I've got initials at the end of the songs, the year, my birth date, 84.
Yep.
And then also listening to the lyrics, I'm sure you'll be able to decipher it quite easily.
I'm terrible at puzzles. Yeah. But speaking of Paparazzo, you got a great video, kind of an homage to 80s films in there as well. So tell me about making the video.
She was born in Manhattan in 1984. Walk before she crawled. And that girl performs. The photograph, it shows them eat together. See how she likes French toast, still in a dressing robe.
Yeah, I think initially we were, because that was all done in one day, which is a lot.
Oh, really?
Of work to do.
Jesus.
Our initial thing was we were going to do 3 days, but we didn't have the budget. So we kind of just trimmed off a couple of the ideas and filtered it down to those 6 or 7. And while I was doing one, they were like setting up the next one. So I'd finish, run straight into the next one. And it ended up turning out really, really good. Connor Pritchard is the same guy who also did the video for All Your Ships Have Sailed. So he's a machine. I think last year he done well over 100 music videos. So he's just churning them out. He's crazy.
Dan, do you have a favorite film of that batch? You being a film actor as well, like Back to the Future and Halloween.
Back to the Future is one of my all-time favorite films ever. Back to the Future. So, big 80s film buff. There's so many great films from the era that if you try to do them now, it just wouldn't work because of the climate we live in. But because of the time of the 80s, all those family films were great. Yeah, you just couldn't make films like that anymore because no one would watch them, I don't think.
Now, I got to guess you're very good at time management with all the stuff that you got going on. Is that true? Are you constantly jiggling schedules and keeping track of all that stuff? And how do you get everything done?
I did turn up to this interview late, so I'm not
well, that's all right. But it wasn't your fault. Blame it on the traffic.
Yeah, I suppose. I just have my calendar, and people are asking if I can do certain things at different jobs, and I have to look in it, and I'm going, I can maybe squeeze it in there, but I'm being mindful these days, because I do have a lot of stuff going on. I need to find time for my family as well. So it is a balancing act, but we seem to be getting through it.
So you obviously you're probably thinking at least of the next record. Or you probably got it done. I don't know. Where are you at?
We recorded most of it 2 weeks ago, so it's down. I don't even want to talk about that one.
Okay.
Because I've got the foundations of the album. I'm not quite 100%. I don't really know exactly what that direction is yet. So now I'm just sitting with it, and then I'll slowly just tweak it until. It's probably going to come out mid next year.
Cool. Are you going to take some time off around the holidays and all that?
Yeah, after the show, I'm pretty free until the start of next year. I've got a couple of producing jobs and also doing. I think the Top Twins have a fundraising concert at the
Right.
Civic in November. But other than that, yeah, I got quite a bit of downtime, which is good.
Cool.
Can focus on writing album number 8 as well as working on this one that we've done.
Oh man, oh man. All righty. And of course the kids would like to see you as well, I'm sure.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah, I'd love that.
Very good. All righty. Well, I'll let you go because you're a busy guy, and look forward. Hope that all goes well at the Powerstation.
Thank you, Marty. Always a pleasure talking to you, man.
You too. See you. Bye bye.